Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports here on the HAN Network. Frank Granito and Donald Eng in studio on this January 9th episode. Coming out of our first big winter storm, and Don, it played a major role throughout the conference with scheduling. We saw almost every hockey game this weekend canceled. And I'm interested to see your opinion on the impact of the weather and the scheduling now, as a lot of these out-of-conference games get moved to the end of the season conference play closer to that state tournament.
Right. It's kind of an unusual situation now where you'll play your conference schedule, and then a lot of these teams will then have a non-conference game right before you head into the conference playoffs. And this is mostly the FCAC. I think the SEC has done away with their hockey conference tournament. But I kind of like it. It provides a nice measuring stick for some of these teams, particularly a lot of these teams that were going to play tough out-of-conference games, like in New Canaan, where you're going to have like a good tune-up, a good measuring stick game against quality competition right before going into the FCAC and then finally the state tournament.
And of course, there is a lot of discrepancy in the top of the FCAC compared to some of the bottom teams, those D3, D2 programs. New Canaan, for example, as you mentioned, they were scheduled to play Notre Dame of Fairfield. They get them now a late weekend in February, and my thought on it was, does Coach Gore perhaps think he's in a good position for the FCAC tournament? He's set up to be a high seed for the state tournament. Do you try to rest a couple of players, get them healthy, not risk any injury? Or as you said, is this a measuring stick of where you are compared to the beginning of the year, where you sit now with the competition going into this tournament?
Well, if we were only talking about the FCAC tournament, then I would say you probably will see coaches rest a couple of players because you are playing a couple of games right in a row, one after the other. But on the other hand, as you mentioned with the state tournament, you need these wins. Obviously, in Division One, essentially everyone makes the playoffs. I think one or two teams don't, but essentially everyone, especially New Canaan, is going to make the playoffs. But you are playing for seeding, and a 1 or a 2 seed difference could be crucial when you get to the quarters or something like that. So I think they play the game, and I think they play to win. I mean, if a guy's maybe got a nicked up ankle that he could play with, he probably sits. But other than that, I think you'll see these teams really play hard. It'll
be very interesting to see how these situations are handled, and also something to consider now. Should we run into another storm and weather has to affect the schedule again, how that gets handled, and if we see games maybe canceled instead of postponed because you run out of those make-up dates?
Well, you certainly hope not. When it comes to, we say it a lot with football, but it applies equally also to hockey. I mean, as a former high school hockey player yourself, you know that you don't really get to do it very often. 20 games a year, and then the playoffs. So you think to yourself, okay, a canceled game, no big deal. It is, 5%, 1 out of 20 games. You hate to see the kids lose any part of their season, particularly when a lot of these players that play hockey, they're playing for the love of the sport. So you hate to see them lose it.
And the routine is now a little thrown off. You've got a week in between the games that they're playing now, and then at a later point in time, you'll have 3 games in 1 week. So something to keep an eye on there with the hockey schedule. Don, we've also got big news here in this first block. Our first Winter Athlete of the Week nominees presented to you now by Danbury Orthopedics OrthoCare Express. The week 1 sees 8 nominees, 4 from the female side and 4 from the male side. And for our first female nominees, we go over to Don.
Right, our first nominee is Jessica Ware of Greenwich Ice Hockey. Jessica, a freshman, made 18 saves as the Cardinals knocked off defending FCAC and state champion Darien 3-1 Tuesday. That was at Dorothy Hamill Rink in Greenwich. It was the Cardinals' first win over Darien since February 12th of 2012. And they now have a record of 3-1-2 to start the year. Fairfield Ward girls basketball player Olivia Parisi is your next nominee. Parisi scored 14 points to lead the Mustangs when they defeated Staples High School 46-37. With the win, Ward picked up their 3rd victory of the season and 1st in conference play. Taylor Brown of Trumbull girls basketball, your next nominee. Brown scored 12 points, and had a key 3-point basket as the Eagles downed defending FCAC and Class L champ Stamford 39-36 at home on Friday. Brown, who hit 3 3-pointers, nailed one with 54 seconds left to cut a 6-point deficit to 3. She then stole the inbounds pass, helping the Eagles pull within 1. Trumbull is a perfect 8-0 this winter. And finally, Caitlin Hucker of the Wilton Norwalk McMahon girls hockey team scored a hat trick to lead the team to a 5-2 win over the combined Stamford-West Hill Staples squad last Wednesday. Hocker is a freshman from Brian McMahon High School. She leads the Warriors on the season with 5 goals. So those are your 4 nominees on the girls' side. For the boys, we go over to Frank.
Thank you, Don. First boy is Connor Harkins of the Granito boys basketball team. Harkins collected a game-high 25 points to lead the Cardinals to a 72-68 victory over the previously undefeated Brian McMahon Senators Friday night. Harkins also finished the game by going 6 for 6 from the free throw line in the final 90 seconds. Next up, we have Justin Siedemann of the Staples basketball team. Siedemann led the scoring as the Wreckers knocked off FCAC perennial power Danbury 58-44. A senior tri-captain had the game-best 23 points, including a 9 for 12 effort from the free throw line, and also collected 30 points last Friday in an 89-73 loss to Fairfield Ward. Anthony Beccaria of the Fairfield Co-op hockey team had a hat trick and 1 assist in the team's 7-3 victory over North Branford. He scored in each of the 3 periods and also led the Mustangs to a 4-2 victory after the second period with a 4-goal win. Fairfield now 4-1 on the winter. And finally, Omar Telfair of the St. Joe's boys basketball team. Telfair scored 20 points, added 4 steals in the Cadets' 65-56 victory over Norwalk on Friday night. St. Joe's outscored Norwalk 23-7 in the fourth quarter, en route to their 3rd victory of the season. So those are your Athlete of the Week nominees for week number 1 of the winter season. Again, brought to you by Danbury Orthopedics, Orthocare Express. Don and I are going to step aside here quickly, but when we return, we will have highlights from that St. Joe's Norwalk basketball game on Friday night, as well as a look ahead at today's hockey matchup between the Norwalk McMahon Co-op team and the Trumbull Eagles. All that coming up next right here on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Start Something New sales event, now through January 31st.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's all about meeting goals this year, and Trinity CrossFit of Ridgefield has experienced trainers, top-of-the-line equipment, and a newly renovated space to help get you there. Offering more classes per day than any other CrossFit gyms in the area, we cater to all fitness levels. Our coaches have a combined 10 years of experience in CrossFit, and as competitors themselves, Trinity coaches can get you ready for competition in 2017. Stop by our grand opening bash on Saturday, January 14th at 9 a.m. Visit our convenient location on Route 7, Danbury Road, or find out more at trinitycrossfit.com.
Give your day a jumpstart with the latest news, sports, weather, and more on Coffee Break, live on the HAN Network, weekdays at 11 a.m. Connecticut news doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break. If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached 1.7 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-6969. 888-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on the HAN Network, this is Nutmeg Sports, Donald Eng and Frank Granito, as we look back to our coverage Friday night between the Norwalk Bears and the St. Joe's Cadets. Norwalk coming in 0-2 in conference play, Don. St. Joe's 1-1. A little early in the year to call it a must-win game, but both schools in a position right now where you can't fall too far behind that pack and that 8th and final spot for the postseason. A tough loss for Norwalk, 65-56, and now they're sitting at 0-3 in conference play. And this was a game they're really going to want back. A 7-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and they get outscored 23-7 in that fourth and final quarter. It was a tough one to watch for that Norwalk team.
It was a tough one to watch, and a big win for St. Joseph, especially as you mentioned in that fourth quarter. I mean, that was just some lockdown defense played by the Cadets, and just a very spirited comeback for Norwalk. You know, a tough season continues on the heels of a tough season last year. Really, we thought they were a year away last year. They were probably more like two and a half years away, but a tough year again.
Well, it's just tough because you look at this Norwalk roster and you think the pieces are all there. The third quarter, they outscored St. Joe's 21-12. Were trailing at the halftime, came out, took a big lead, and you started to believe, okay, this is a Norwalk team. They've found their stride. Kerry Alcina, the senior guard, went off for 32 points. He could do no wrong, it seemed like, for the Bears, but limited to 7 points in the fourth quarter. He was the only Norwalk player who scored in the fourth quarter. And I don't care who you are, Don, you need to get some kind of help from your team if you're going to be able to have success.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe fatigue set in, Norwalk, coming up a little short on some of those jump shots, but really, you saw the potential. You see that the talent is there. It's still there's a lot to be developed. I think there's a pretty high ceiling on this Norwalk team, but we might not see it this year. Probably trending more toward next season.
For St. Joe's, it was a great, resilient comeback. Omar Telfer led the scoring for the Cadets with 20 points. Jack Mulder, back from injury, looked good shooting behind the arc in the second half. Did a great job. I thought Tommy Montelli had a great game defensively, had a huge steal, turned it into a layup and one conversion. But again, it was turnovers down the stretch that really plagued the Bears as they fall 65-56 to the St. Joe's Cadets. Let's take a look at the highlights from Friday night.
Good evening and welcome to St. Joe's High School as we get set for our game of the week between the St. Joe's Cadets and the Norwalk Bears.
Tommy Montelli about to set that pick. He's calling for it.
Fancy moves there, and then getting to the rack and finishing was Telfer. The Norwalk coaching staff thought there might have been a double dribble there, Kevin.
What a nice move there. Even better pass. Great effort by Mulder to get his own rebound and the assist.
Oh, the crossover, the scoop, reverse, and finish. Well done. And the Bears content to slow it down for a moment with a 3-point lead. Katulski inside, strong take, and the bucket as the bench comes to life, and a timeout taken. The save attempt fails as it goes right back to Mulder. Telfair kicks it outside again. Is this one on the mark? He got it!
Look out, Frank. Look out.
Zaire Sellers outside again and knocking down. Now it's Mulder who's heating up.
There he is, Frank.
Telfair in the rack to the basket, and he gets it to go. And another timeout taken. As Coach Keys has seen a 7-0 run wash this lead away.
You can hear Coach Keys implying get a good shot, but a great steal.
Going up strong, through contact and the bucket. What a play from Tommy Montelli, the 5'11 senior. Will allow the Cadets to run timeout. What a comeback effort as St. Joe's picks up a 9-point victory.
Don, a big number that really stood out to me in this one, 0 bench points for Norwalk. St. Joe's had scoring from 9 players on the roster. Only 5 put up points. Only 4 put up points for the Bears. As Tommy Benincasa was the lone starter who couldn't convert. And we were talking with our director, Eric Gendron, about this. Kevin Coleman and I talked about it as well during the broadcast. Benincasa looked as though he was forcing up threes at the end. Clearly the frustration's mounting because he couldn't get the shot to go.
No, he couldn't get the shots to go, and also, as we mentioned earlier, fatigue sets in as St. Joe's closed the game on that 23-7 run. Norwalk just kind of looked up, run out of gas. When you only go like that little to your bench, that's going to be one of the risks you run. How about all those championship banners in the gym there? Did you see that in some of the wide shots there? The St. Joe's basketball program, about a 4-decade run of excellence there, possibly on the way back now.
Such a storied program, such a great gym to call a game in. It was a lot of fun to get to Vito Montelli Court, and it was even cooler. Our own Chris Kutzo got to catch up with Coach Montelli during the second quarter. Great to see him on hand. Of course, he was at the game Tuesday last week when Trinity Catholic head coach Mike Walsh picked up his 600th career victory. Dom, we're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll look at the rest of the basketball scores from Friday night, a couple of undefeated programs falling over the weekend, and we will preview this afternoon's hockey game between Trumbull and Norwalk McMahon right after this on the HAN Network.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Recently renovated and home to one of Connecticut's largest indoor turf fields, InSports is a multi-sport recreation center providing state-of-the-art facilities for league play, camps, and youth programs. Sign up now for the InSports New England Top 80 Lacrosse Showcase taking place on January 14th. Coaches from New England colleges will be scouting and coaching the recruits for the college class of 2019 and 2020. The top 40 players will be featured in All-Star Game to get maximum recruiting exposure. Spots will fill up fast, so go to insports.com for pricing and more information. Like and follow us on Facebook.
Discover a world of wellness in the heart of New Canaan. Halo Studios, New Canaan's first collaborative wellness center, offers you the freedom to choose from the best and latest health, fitness, and wellness options. Inside Halo Studios, you'll find all the wellness experts you need at places like Halo Fitness, Priority Wellness, and Sama Yoga Center. Come by for a free wellness assessment, open 7 days a week at 45 Grove Street. For more information, visit halostudios.com or call 203-594-9909. Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Why cook it all this holiday? Avoid the stress of holiday planning and let your friends at Walter Stewart's in New Canaan do the heavy lifting. Whether you're looking to fill in with a few crowd-pleasing sides or you want us to prepare your whole feast, from cranberry sauce to pumpkin pie, we're ready to simplify your holiday. Place your order from our holiday menu and spend your holiday the right way, relaxing. Our fresh prepared holiday meals to go are designed with your busy schedule in mind. Visit us at stewartsmarket.com or at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan.
Are you ready for winter? Ski and Sport has everything you need to be fully outfitted for the season. A family-owned and operated business with over 40 years of experience, Ski and Sport's 3 convenient locations in Fairfield County offer top-quality, high-fashion ski and winter wear. In addition to clothing for men, women, and children, we also offer seasonal rentals for the entire family. Stop by our stores on 1 Ethan Allen Highway in Ridgefield, 877 Post Road East in Westport, and at 110 Main Street in New Canaan. Or visit us at skiandsport.net.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on the HAN Network Nutmeg Sports with Donald Eng, Frank Granito, quickly looking at the Friday night scoreboard for boys basketball. Wilton, a 30-point winner over New Canaan, 72-42. Ridgefield knocked off Trinity Catholic 65-50. That was Trinity Catholic's first loss of the season. Ward stays undefeated with an 89-73 victory over Staples. Danbury 60-51 over Ludlow. Trumbull 55-52 holding on against Stanford, and Greenwich 72-68. That is the first loss of the year for Brian McMahon. So big wins for the Greenwich Cardinals and the Ridgefield Tigers. Let's look at this afternoon's hockey game now, originally scheduled to be covered by the HAN Network. Unfortunately, due to some facility issues, we will not be able to broadcast this afternoon's game between the Trumbull Eagles and the Norwalk McMahon Co-op team. Don, you look at this game and you've got two programs coming in, Trumbull 2-2, Norwalk 2-4. This will be their first game in conference play. Both these teams missed out on the FCX last year, and I think that they're growing as programs. They hope that that's what the end result will be and where they can get to within the next couple of years. But they both qualify for state tournaments, suffered tough losses in the first round, trying to build off that experience now.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those, it's hard to kind of get a handle on where these teams stand, at least in the FCAC right now. Trumbull comes in with a record of 2-2 with wins over the Watertown Pomperog Co-op and the Milford Co-op. They lost to North Brantford in what I thought was a game that was more competitive than the score would indicate. And then also they lost to a Division I squad in St. Joseph by a 5-2 margin. So so Trumbull at 2-2. Really having what I would call a decent start to the season, about a solid start, about right where they expected to be, I think.
And you look at that St. Joe's loss, it's a rivalry game, 5-2. They're probably a little upset about that, but keep in mind, that's a St. Joe's squad that was in the FCX championship last year, brought back goaltender Alex Wilson, who many believe to be the top goalie in the conference this year, arguably a top 5 player in the state. So they're trending in the right direction, something to keep an eye on today. Trumbull will be starting freshman goalie Alex Simbailuk. It'll be his first career start. And for a Norwalk team that has struggled scoring goals at times this year, Don, that's got to be encouraging for their offense, knowing, okay, let's get pucks to the net and see what happens when you've got that inexperienced in there.
Yeah, certainly. You know, as I like to say when we talk about hockey at the high school level especially, I'm a simple guy. Give me point shots and guys in front. Norwalk 2-4 on the year. A good win against Joel Barlow, 6-1. Also a nice win beating Trinity Catholic 4-3. Their losses are to Massac, to the BBD Co-op, Housatonic Northwestern, and I'm not sure where this is, WMRP. Presumably in Connecticut. Last season, Trumbull won 5-0 in their meeting last season. You kind of have to figure that they probably would be the favorite in this matchup. But again, you know, a freshman goalie getting his first start, it could be a very interesting game.
I think that the tide does point to Trumbull right now. They're a program that you would expect to be in a better position, but I know Coach Dale Wemhoff for the Norwalk McMahon Co-op team, and they're a program trending in the right direction. They've got a lot of players out this year, which is great. It's a young core. And that's what's most important for these schools now, that you don't normally know as hockey schools. If they're generating interest and the numbers are showing up, that's a win for the program. Because the more kids that show up, the more options you have, the better you're going to be in the long run. And while it's tough to tell this to an 18-year-old senior, Don, if you're building a program for the future, that's what they want to see right now out of these programs.
Certainly, and also, as we were mentioning, you know, when if a freshman goalie can establish himself as a solid starter and have, you know, a year of experience at this level, and then, you know, your team really can trend upwards for a good, 3 or 4 years. And as you mentioned, success tends to breed success. You know, the more a team has success, more kids get interested, they come out and participate, and it tends to feed on itself from there. So I agree. Trumbull certainly in a very good position, probably a year away, but definitely trending up in the FCX standings.
And Norwalk McMahon, don't sleep on them in that D3 tournament. They're a program that wants to get back there and believes they can do some damage in that tournament. That game is at 4 o'clock today, Don. Again, we apologize. Unable to cover that game as originally scheduled because of some facility issues. But we still got a very busy week, Don. We've got boys basketball, Ridgefield at Danbury, a rivalry game tomorrow night. On Wednesday, we'll have Greenwich versus New Canaan in girls ice hockey from the Darien Ice House. And of course, Friday, we have got West Hill hosting Danbury in an FCAC championship rematch for boys basketball. a busy couple of weeks coming up. We've got a lot of intriguing matchups between top teams in the conference and, of course, rivalry games wrestling at the end of the month. So we are in full swing now, ready to go with the winter season.
No, certainly everything now is moving along. Particularly looking forward to that girls hockey matchup. Granito's looking to really establish itself as the team to beat in the FCAC.
And they've been playing so well. And, of course, next Monday we'll have Darien and New Canaan. So getting a look at all three of those top FCAC teams. For Donald Eng, I'm Frank Granito. We want to thank you for tuning in to Nutmeg Sports this afternoon. Of course, you're back here tomorrow, 11 a.m. for your coffee break with Kate Chaplensky, The Drive with Denise, and we'll have more Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. Don, see you tomorrow. Here you go. Your pick, my friend. Good luck.